In 1906, green fields still covered what was to become Riccarton. Most of Christchurch was contained within the 4 avenues. But 1906 was the year the city hosted the ultimate extravagance. For 5 months, Hagley Park was the setting for one of the most spectacular events the city's seen: the New Zealand International Exhibition of Arts and Industries. In its 5 months, 1 million people paid to see it. That was equivalent to the whole population of New Zealand. At that time, a mere 68,000 people lived in Christchurch. The building was huge. It stretched from the Armour Street Bridge 4 blocks to Salisbury Street. That's more or less where the pavilion now is. That's almost the whole length of Park Terrace. The building alone covered 14 acres. It was built of kauri. The roof alone weighed 225 tonnes, and there were 45 tonnes of nails used. The 2 central towers were 50 metres high. You got a view from the top via Christchurch's first electric lift. Exhibitions were the fashion in the 19th century. It began in 1851 with the Great Exhibition in Hyde Park in London. New Zealand was a young colony, but by 1906 Dunedin had held 2 international exhibitions and Christchurch 1. As well, there'd been 8 big national exhibitions. In 1906 we were to see the greatest of them all. It was to be a national affair paid for by the government. The idea was to show off what we could do and to invite other countries to exhibit. 40 committees and subcommittees swung into action. A railway siding was built from Riccarton Station down Matai Street and right across the park. It was to bring materials to the site. A special tram line was laid along Peterborough and Salisbury Streets and into Park Terrace. Over 1,000 people were employed by the time the exhibition opened. 1,300 exhibitors rented space, and 400 of those came from overseas. The opening ceremony was performed by the Governor-General, Lord Plunkett, at 11:30 on November the 1st. It was said to be an occasion of brilliance and dignity. This music was specially composed. When the gates opened, visitors could see what other parts of the country were doing. They could see what other countries had to offer too. Even Canterbury districts were there. For most people, car ownership was a long way away. There was a fernery, a concert hall, a theatre and an art gallery, and a Maori village. The islands of the Pacific provided a unique chance to see another way of life. A replica of Rotorua's Geyserland was complete with steam. But it's the amusements that must have attracted many people. The water chute. From the top of a ramp, thrill seekers raced in small boats and into Exhibition Lake. The lake was specially dug for the occasion. The chute stood where the bowling club is now, and the lake is now Victoria Lake. Other amusements included the helter-skelter and the haunted castle. In what was called the Pike were attractions such as the giant children and the box ball rink. The wonder of the Battle of Gettysburg was for all to see in the cyclorama. It was in a round building by the Armour Street gate. The visitors bought thousands of commemorative postcards and brochures. The first commemorative New Zealand stamps were on sale. The penny claret can now sell for $10,000. Christchurch's last great international exhibition closed on the 15th of April 1907. Despite those huge attendances, it lost money. It had always been planned to pull down all the buildings. Some materials were used to build King Edward Barracks. A few houses used some of the timber, and the fernery sits at Mona Vale. On the site, apart from Victoria Lake, nothing remains. You can still find souvenirs of the exhibition. Some are mere curiosities, some are useful. Small reminders of perhaps the biggest event this region's ever staged.